Okay, hello to those of you who are joining me for the tarantula reading. Um, I suppose I don't have to give you a trigger warning for spiders right now. I assume that if you've clicked on the tarantula reading, you're probably going to be reasonably okay with spiders, or at least braving your way through it. What's really super interesting to me personally is that this tarantula card was clarified. One of the cards that came out for the tarantula card was the tarantula card, which tells me a little bit more about the situation. Now, what I specifically pick up from the tarantula card is somebody who knows when it's time to take action and when it's time to hold back. It's very much King of Wands energy, because the King of Wands is somebody who's very passionate, very, very creative, but they know when to hold back. They know that there's a time and a place to allow that burst of energy to come through. They know that sometimes they need to be a little bit more reserved. The tarantula, it's not like a spider who's out in the open. The tarantulas kind of hide away and kind of pop out for, surprise bursts of energy. So with it being the King of Wands energy, I would say that is probably who do we have? I would say that's Leo energy, which is interesting because we do have the Lion card out as well. So yeah, it could definitely be a Leo involved. Doesn't have to be that sign. It could it's fire energy, so it could also be Aries or Sagittarius. Again, doesn't have to be. We did have a Sagittarius card that came out for the elk up there as well. It's more about the energies than the star sign that's important. We all have a lot of things going on in our chart, a lot of different star signs, if you like, in different placements there. So yeah, somebody could just have some kind of fire going on in their chart at the moment. The tarantula tells me, like I say, a time to know when it's time to to go inwards, to reassess, and when it's time to kind of burst forward. So this reading to me is very much in the reassessment stage of this story. So you can see here again this Leo energy that's coming through the lion there. It sort of speaks to me of the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And is it Aslan? Does he become a stone statue at some point? That's kind of what it's telling me. It's almost like, oh my god, I just heard the king is dead. I don't know what that is. But he isn't, right? He isn't really. He kind of comes back to life. So it could be that maybe somebody's withdrawn from a situation. They've gone a bit quiet. People are saying, oh, I think it might be, time's up for that person. It could not, it could mean that if it's a workplace thing, it could be like, oh, I think that person's going to leave work here. They've gone quiet. It may not be that at all. It may just be that they're gathering their energy because they're going to kind of burst forward into a new creative phase. So I will come back to this deep freeze in a minute. So deep freeze, we've got details here, right? This is like clarity there as well. Important notes. Is that a rabbit or a mouse? I think it's a rabbit. So yeah, looking at the details there. There's that compass back as well for those of you who are following the imagery throughout all the different readings. So the compass talks about choosing a direction, strategizing, plotting a course. Feeling like you're fated to go in a certain direction. And yeah, the lead card here is take time to breathe out. So this is definitely, and with this tarantula card I get as well, it's like she's kind of stuck in place there. She's letting the cobwebs grow over her, right? So there's definitely somebody who may be going through a phase where it's almost like Four of Swords energy to me, where it's like you really need to take time out. You need to go inwards. You need to, like, hermit energy as well. You need to process. You need to go over what's happened. You need to kind of like figure things out. And process what's happened so that you can almost like start afresh and come out anew. So yeah, take time to breathe out. So I'm going to read from you what this actually says. So, disseminating moon. The intensity of the full moon has abated, and what are we left with? So I feel like something happened with that elk phase. Like I say, it's talking about a linear progression for me, some sort of big change. It was quite tumultuous. Somebody really had to kind of like either stand the ground or stay very stable, as they were in the eye of that storm. So yeah, the storm has passed. Things have changed. So there's the reassessment phase. The intensity of the full moon has abated, and what are we left with? That's what this card is asking you. It suggests that the situation you're asking about has now peaked, and it's time for you to regroup and learn from your experiences rather than blindly forging ahead. Have faith that what is happening is for the best. Try to accept the way things are now and give yourself and others time out to relax. Breathe. We can't be on all the time. If you feel you've hit an obstacle, now just to kind of draw the parallel there with what was happening in that elk reading with the elephant god Ganesha, placing obstacles in our path because they're trying to protect us from going the wrong way. They really want us to be in high honour. So if we've been blocked from something, we're asked to take a more honourable route, and then the pathway will clear. So if we've hit an obstacle, trust that it's divine timing, it's part of the divine plan. If you feel you've hit an obstacle or even failed in some way, now is the time to reflect on how to do things differently next time. Be honest with yourself if you feel bad about your current situation, and then remind yourself that life goes on in cycles. I am where I am, and it's okay. You should know that where you stand. You should know where you stand either now or very soon. You need to take some time out for your own good. It's time for you to share your wisdom and experience with somebody else and avoid falling into a slump. So I do feel like because we had the octopus in the reverse, it's like somebody had taken on too much. I'm sort of seeing the 8 legs of the octopus and the 8 legs of the tarantula, and you can see how he's kind of got himself into a bit of a twist. He's taken on too much. His head's going there with stress, and he's done too much. Where the tarantula is much more controlled, much more steady. They still have the 8 arms, but they're kind of doing it in a more methodical. I'm always seeing it as like the tarantula's standing on things to stop them moving. So yeah, there's definitely some sort of pause going on here. So I'm connecting that to the octopus, which is in reverse, right? That's saying don't take on too much, be steady. And also the mouse was in reverse. So the details card talks to me about the mouse. The mouse card sometimes says, look at the small details, you're overlooking things. So it's interesting that the elk had look at the bigger picture. I almost feel like somebody had a kind of a bird's eye view. And now they're going into a more processing phase where they're going in deep into the details of the matter. So let's have a look at what this says. Again, I'm connecting this to the mouse energy. The most powerful patterns are created within the tiniest details. Pay attention. This is the time to be aware of the fine print in all areas of your life. Look at the details and leave the broad strokes for another time. So it's almost the opposite message of the elk reading, which is very interesting to me. When this card appears in a reading, it is a time to finesse a project, make small but meaningful gestures, or add a personal touch to your correspondence. So again, if you are tying yourself in knots, if you're doing too much, if you're really, really busy and you're trying to please a lot of people, you're going to spread yourself too thinly, which was that message that was coming through earlier. So this is saying, with the mouse being in reverse, it's like small details were being overlooked. Small but important details were being overlooked. So finesse, pay attention to the small print, look at things through, a close lens there, because there is something that you're missing. Which explains why those cards were in reverse. So be aware that what you need to know lies in the details. If you're entering into an agreement of any kind, pay attention to them before, not after, when it's too late. Clarity and transparency are key. So be very careful if you're signing contracts as well. Make sure you go over the fine print, and make sure with the mouse cards, speak up if there's anything that you're not sure about, anything you want clarifying, anything that you want to negotiate. You are in a position where you're if somebody's giving you a contract, they want you, right? You are in a position where you can negotiate the details of that contract. Don't be a pushover. That's a strong message that's coming through for somebody. You can gain great understanding by observing the minute body language, offhand remarks, and fleeting facial expressions that reveal the larger picture. So again, going back to the elk reading, that was talking about this very earthy, intuitive ability that somebody has. Somebody was basically very like a shaman, like this earthy intuition, where their warning, their obstacle card was the 9 of Swords, which says don't get too much in your own head. So it is important to take that time out to be analytical, but don't allow this period of analyzing to grind things to a halt, right? You don't want to slow down so much that you stop. Now, there was an interesting, again, if you haven't watched that elk reading, there was an interesting story about a chameleon in that reading that you may wish to go and look at. So You could definitely need to make a move at some point here. Don't slow down too much. Look at the fine details, but don't obsess over them. So the deep freeze, everything has its season, and now is the time to put activity on hold while you rest. Again, I feel like things are going to pick up, so you're really going to need to if you're feeling a bit depleted and you have the time to rest, make sure you do that. The cold winter beckons you to slow down and put a freeze on things that are not yet ready to bloom. Again, divine timing. The tarantula knows when it's time to move and when it's time to not. It's time for regeneration and hibernation. Another thing with the tarantula is that they actually, like a snake, they shed their shell, and they, their husk, and they come out like a new, so almost like a butterfly or a snake. They kind of shed their old outer skin, their exoskeleton, and come out like stronger and fresher than they were before. So somebody could be taking some time to heal, giving themselves a bit of a makeover, something like that, while COVID's happening. During winter, it's a period of healing. It's time for regeneration and hibernation. Forego ambitious activity. A pregnant pause allows ideas to gestate. So again, there's something very creative happening here, which I'll come back to. Projects to shift and change. Again, change was a part of the elk reading. And relationships to go through a dreamy state of being, not going anywhere and not needing to. This is also a time to put all your arguments on ice. Nothing beneficial will come from any of them. Self-care is the most important activity now, so reflect and read a good book, or get a massage, rest and dream. It's sort of reminded me about the cancer reading I did this week. It was talking about stepping away from any kind of conflict around you. It's better to disengage and spend that time looking after yourself, so that when the dust settles around you, you can come out kind of glowing, right? Go and have a glow up while everybody else is doing unnecessary fighting. You don't have to engage in that. So yeah, definitely reminded me of that cancer reading that I did this week. So right then, so deep freeze, Aslan the lion, going over what's happened, looking at the details, making sure they were reading the fine print, allowing rest so that the ideas can flow and we can move into a more creative energy, preparing for the next phase, something like this going on. So with the equator card, now it's interesting, again, the elk has something about making things equal, doing something for others. So find the balance in your life. So again, the message of the elk reading was to be stable, to have balance while the chaos was happening around somebody. So find the balance in your life. Equality among people is a worthy goal. You are worth it. Do not compare yourself to others, as this is a useless task that only leads to unhappiness. I'm going to read that again because sometimes people need to hear that. Do not compare yourself to others, as this is a useless task that only leads to unhappiness. There can be a happy medium. There doesn't have to be an extreme reaction all the time. Again, I feel like I'm picking up on Cancerian energy again. There doesn't have to be an extreme reaction. Sometimes you can just disengage, go and do something that's more beneficial to you, right? Rather than kind of shouting and screaming. It just puts bad energy into the atmosphere. It's not productive. Again, I'm picking up on kind of Taurian energy as well. Taurus was very, very fixed. They were like a statue. They were immovable. So there could be something there for you as well. Now, I'm connecting this again to the elk reading. For those of you who are following the journey, we had the dove spirit and all these white birds in that reading. So I'm feeling like this is the feminine energy, again, of that 2 of cups energy. So the elk was sort of like the masculine energy. I feel like the masculine has gone into this still period, this kind of stone-like reassessment phase, but this is that feminine energy. Again, it could be both sides of ourselves, right? Yin and yang. But this is connecting with that 9 of Swords energy and the Dove card. This is the person who's trying to help. So creation and water. This water talks about emotions as well. So flow forward with grace and confidence. Be true to your emotions. Do not allow yourself to become stagnant in your ways. Really picking up on stagnancy. So just be careful, because you want to slow down, you want to reassess, but you don't want to grind to a stop. Take the lesson from the chameleon in the elk's reading. Consider what is vital to your happiness and ensure you seek it. So again, follow your happiness. You know, the path will be clear when you ask, what makes me happy? You know, that makes things, it makes it easier to make decisions. But also creation. So there's a lot of fire in this reading with the tarantula, this fire energy here, and this deep freeze. So the freeze talks to me about this stagnancy, and then the processing phase, which allows you to let the creativity flow, which takes you into a more action-based, yang-like energy, you know, creative ideas. So the tarantula, again, to me, is so almost talking about strategizing, reassessing, figuring out a plan of how to move after a period of feeling very, very stagnant. But the thing with this is I'm really getting kind of, while it looks like there's no movement, there is actually movement, because this talks to me about connection with other people, you know, connecting with a web. You know, when a spider's web is disturbed, those vibrations travel along the web and alert the spider. So there's something to do, it could be like something to do with the internet, staying connected with people on the internet. It could be something to do with feeling a change in the energy, feeling the vibrations. I'm just noticing her hair as well. Her hair is almost like the same as these tarantula's webs, so there's something to that. So, and it also talks to me about, like, you can see all the trees in the background. This is talking to me, and I will read from the card so you can see what I mean from the book, but connecting with other people, either through the web, something that's tangible in 3D, or through, you know, the psychic realms. We're all connected. We all drink. I say this a lot about water, about the water cycle. You know, the rain that falls on me today could go through the water cycle and be a lake that you swim in 5 years. You know, the water, it goes through all our bodies, and it is part of the universe. It travels the world. So water is very fluid and connected in that way. I was pointing out the trees because, you know, the roots of the trees make a network, especially in connection with mycelium, which is a type of fungus. It's like a mushroom that goes under the forest floor, and actually it allows the trees to communicate with each other. I can't go into that too much, but there's a brilliant TED talk on it that you could look up. So yeah, definitely this is talking to me about connectivity. So while it looks like maybe there's no movement, there is a lot of movement because you are connected to other people. The elk card talked about people who want to help you and the ability to trust those people. And perhaps, yeah, I don't know. Let's just read from the book. Excuse me. It is time to bring together disparate aspects of your life. Everything is connected. When you are afraid or unsure, it is important to know that you are never alone. You can do magic. We all can. So I'm going to tell you the story of the tarantula here. Mythos. Just to say, the word myth mythos in Greek mythology did not mean false. It just meant a story. So stories can be true or untrue. It doesn't mean that it's not true. I mean, but it is a story, right? The daughter of the great goddess Diana, Aradia, stepped upon the earth, charged with the sacred duty of reconnecting the people with their birthrights of balance and love. So again, there's this thing about ancestry that was coming through in the Elks reading. Birthrights. You know, it is your right as a human being to have balance in your life and to have love. Such was the environment Aradia was born into, that the old ways were forced underground. The feminine divine disrespected, and the earth's never-ending cycles of the moon and seasons ignored and forgotten. Again, the moon was a big key thing in the elk reading, and the elk symbolises divine masculine to me because it's the emperor card. So this is something about the feminine. Aradia travelled the lands, walking thousands of miles in the service of her mother, delivering her teachings to more and more women and bringing hope and healing where there was little. One day, as she was waiting for the moon to rise so she could meet with other women under the cover of night for devotionals, Aradia quietly sat in the forest. There in front of her she saw a huge spider, hairy and big as her hand, weaving a great web. She watched as the shining silk wove back and around, creating a shimmering circle. Aradia saw that the spider's web grew wider and bigger and glow in the reflection of the moon. She was reminded that everything was connected, from the moon to the earth. All beings, all people, the rocks, the trees and the flowers were connected by the web of life. This was what was being forgotten and what was vital to remember. Okay, so connectivity, you're not alone. And also the rise of the divine feminine within us, right? The equator, the balance of yin and yang. The elk definitely symbolizes this divine masculine energy. And this is with this kind of Moana-like grandmother figure here on this water card. This is very much talking about the divine feminine to me. So the magic, spider magic, and specifically tarantula magic, is protective and connective. Webs don't just trap prey, they support and protect the spider as well. It is a mistake to think that the spider magic is evil or dangerous, as very few cultures see the spider in this fashion. When you feel you need greater connection to life, or you need support, particularly in creative matters, ask the spider for help. So again, this thing about creation, connection. So support in creating something. Also, what was I going to say about the tarantula? I don't know why the tarantula's coming through so strongly for me. I associate it with the Eight of Pentacles card. The Eight of Pentacles talks about doing something over and over again until you become a master of it, until you perfect it. So, you don't become a stonemason overnight, available to carve such a beautiful stone lion. If you look at, I remember being a child and a spider had spun a web on my the gate, the railings of my house, and it was covered in dew or like raindrops, and the sun was shining through it, and it was sparkling. It was like a web made of diamonds. It was very beautiful. And I've always liked spiders. I live in England. Spiders are not scary or dangerous here. Some people may disagree, but they can't hurt you, right? They're just something that traps the flies in my house. I like spiders. It's could be something to do with perspective on things that, some people may find scary, but others may find cute. I think tarantulas are cute. The little fluffy things. I really, really like them. So I've held tarantulas. I've had them crawl up my arm, into my hair. I like tarantulas. I don't know what that's about, but it's something. So the Two of Fire, the obstacle, if you're associating with this tarantula reading, the obstacle here is the ability to make a choice, to make a decision. It could be that somebody obsesses over the small details. Again, the elk was told to avoid this Nine of Swords energy, this obsessive energy. It's good to look at the details. We're told not to overlook the small details, but we also shouldn't obsess over them to the point where we stop moving completely. Look at how the cobwebs have grown over this person. Sometimes we do need to make a choice. The giraffe, I think, comes back in somebody's reading, so pay attention to the giraffe as well. But the giraffe is lighting the way. Also, the giraffe is walking forwards, and it looks like there's a drop there. So the giraffe, their perspective may be too high. They may not be able to see the pitfalls, but I think this woman, she is actually, I think, looking forward and almost pointing out to the giraffe that there is something here. So there's something to do with somebody who has a higher perspective and somebody who's looking at the details. The Two of Fire talks about the need to make a choice, and this was clarified by the Ten of Earth. Now this is building a legacy for the future, wealth shared with other people, feeling very secure and stable. Also notice the butterfly that was coming through with the winged female energy in the elk reading. So let's grab the book and just kind of see what these cards actually say from this book, because it's part of this reading. Interesting as well that the bookmark I used for this was the Four of Swords, which I feel is very much this analysing energy. So Four of Swords, healthy. Nine of Swords, when you overanalyze and get into anxiety, is bad. So it's knowing how deep to go into something, right? Knowing when to pull yourself out of a situation when you find yourself stagnating. Two of Fire, creative planning for the future, mapping progress, trusting in the unknown, spirit-inspired ambition. Spirit-inspired ambition, elk. That shaman energy that was being told to take the lead. Whenever I can't see how my dreams will coalesce into form, I can trust in the process of co-creation and engage more deeply in the process of envisioning something new. There was definitely a Two of Cups thing going on. I have already started to make progress, and soon my passion will attract the perfect situation for me. The light of spirit helps me to see the way and feel the universe aligning to bring me what I need. Okay? So let's read the Ten of Earth, because this is what's clarified this Two of Fire, this decision making. Affluence, material abundance, mastery. Mastery, I said that about the tarantula, right? Doing something over and over again until you master it. Financial security, inherited wealth and knowledge. Inherited wealth and knowledge, which I said about the elk, like this thing about ancestry, a legacy. I am now able to step back and observe the results of what I built through my dedication and hard work. I claim ownership of the castles I built and that have taken form in the material world. I have achieved mastery and inherited treasures of knowledge and experience thanks to all I have been through. I smile appreciatively at my run of good fortune. And again, there's that fairy energy again there. Also the wolf energy. I told a story about a dream I had about being a bird and looking down, and there was like a wolf or a fox running below me. So something there. Right, okay, let's get you an advice card. So for people connecting with the tarantula reading, what's the advice, please, for this stage of the reading? Because I'm seeing it as different stages in a process. Tell me what's the advice, please, for the people connecting to this tarantula reading today. Oh, that's really interesting. This is going to come back out again, I think, for the mouse. So which way, please? Yeah, protection message again. That's funny, they're all coming through as the protection messages. Where is the book for this? Here it is. So the bee spirit. So the bee is gonna be a reoccurring motif. It's gonna come out again in the mouse's reading. So 7. Sweet results await. Oh, it's the oracle of the protection message, isn't it? Let me just flip the page there. When Bee Spirit comes as your protector, she asks you to be very honest with yourself. Do you want to taste the sweet honey others have been making, but you believe is unattainable for you? Do you wonder how others ended up with so much magical honey when you seem to have none? Have you bought into the illusion of separation? Oh my God, connectivity, right? Look, connectivity, connection, World Wide Web, something like that. Have you bought into the illusion of separation and the hive as well? Like hive mind? Oh my goodness. Look at the, oh my God, I've never noticed that before. Look at the little cogs on it. Look at the little mechanical bee. And it's got 8 legs as well, right? Or like, what, 3 legs and, I don't know. I can't count. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Have you bought into the illusion of separation and become convinced that you can't have what the others in the hive enjoy? Do you separate from the hive and do it all on your own, or to hoard what honey you have? Oh my God. Unwilling to trust that there is plenty of support and plenty of sweetness to go around. That's exactly what was happening in the Elks reading as well. There was something to do with not trusting others. Oh my goodness. If you have been overworking, Octopus, and have not given yourself any time to enjoy the sweetness of your life, Bee Spirit is telling you to stop and recharge. Oh my God. Perhaps you're afraid that if you don't get something done, it just won't get done. However, even busy bees need to take a break, and when they do, the honey still gets made. So remind yourself that sweetness is everywhere and available to you always, always when you need it. Just reach out, right? Just reach out and ask. And the sweetness, the honey of the universe will provide, right? I'm looking at this little fairy butt and the tarantula's little fairy butt. So I feel like this is like the masculine energy and this is the feminine energy. It's like, I don't know, they're the same but they're different, right? They're the same but they've got different skills. It's kind of giving me that 3 of Pentacles energy. There's something there. There's something with the similarity of the tarantula and the bee. Perhaps again something about one person being more grounded, right? Seeing the earth, seeing somebody who's better at looking at the details, and somebody, because this person's on the ground, right? And this person's better at seeing the higher perspective because they've got the wings. They can see the bigger picture, and this person sees the details of the situation. Something like that. Right, I think that's what was trying to come through. Yeah, because the girl's got the wings. Yeah, so we're talking divine masculine, divine feminine energy, yin and yang. Two with the 2 cups on the elk reading, and I associate the elk with this kind of earthy, divine masculine emperor energy. So the divine feminine energy is coming through as this winged, peaceful, higher perspective energy. Oh, I'm into this. I love tarot. I get so into. I want to look at that as well. How balanced it is now. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. If I'm leaving you there, if you were just coming in for the Tarantula reading, I hope you found it helpful. I am going to pull a song to close out this reading. And yeah, go and check it out. Whatever you feel when you hear it or when you see it, you know, if you listen to it, and my throat's closing up for some reason, you know, look up the lyrics, look up the music video, whatever strikes you about it, whatever it makes you feel, whatever stands out for you, that's the message for you, right? Everybody's going to get something different from it. So, for the people coming to the Tarantula reading, what's the most important song you can give us to communicate what we need to take from this reading, please? I'm Still Here by Sia. I'm fighting a battle, I'm fighting my ego, but I'm still here. All right, I hope that was helpful to somebody. I'm going to close that out there. For those of you who are following the storyline for me, the next reading we're going to is the Peacock reading. So I'll see you there. For those that I'm leaving here with the Tarantula reading, I hope you found it helpful and useful, and I hope you've got something for it. Love to hear your comments if you want to leave me a comment, if anything particularly resonated. Leave me a like, subscribe if you haven't already. That's all really helpful to me. Share the video with friends. And if you don't want to do any of that and you want to come in as a stealth watcher, I really appreciate you being here and making it to the end of the video. And yeah, stick around. I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.